It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Well, welcome everyone. It's Sam Lesante here, and welcome to the Mayor's Report. We're here in Pottsville again, Mayor's office. Mayor Dave Clews, known him for a zillion years and is doing a great job in Pottsville. And we want to thank, of course, our media partner, the Republican Herald. Remember, for local sports, local information, and also their Sunday coupons, turn to the Republican Herald, go to their website. Also, a lot of other people who have been supporters. There's 12 Volt Dave has been a supporter of our company. Also, Vito's Coal-Fire Pizza and Restaurant, the best, Carmelo's. Bob Weaver, always supporting the local events, and we want to thank them for that, along with all the other people that you see advertising. We appreciate that very much. David, it's nice to see you again.
Always a pleasure, Sam.
So, you know, I talked to you a little bit about this before we started the show. One of the reasons when we did our survey, which was a scientific survey by Susquehanna Polling and Research, they were rated #1 in the country. We had nothing to do with it, okay, other than them doing the surveys. You're familiar with those guys. But anyway, one of the things, I may have mentioned this, I know I'm being redundant, but so the viewers know, listing this show as the #1 talk show in Northeastern Pennsylvania, plus all of our neighborhood shows. I appreciate that very much. But we ask questions, and one of the things is keeping us informed as to what's going on, whether it's religion, political, or whatever. And that's why I asked you before we started the show, is when people see you, and some of them are those who have watched the show, what do they say to you?
Oh, it's always been positive. They really like being able to keep being informed on what's going on, coming directly from the mayor's office, from myself, telling them what, from the street paving to, our holiday lighting campaign. We recently had a very successful craft and farmers market happen, which will continue throughout the summer. So being able to dispense that information, people really like hearing that stuff. And, I'm proud to share what's going on here in Pottsville.
And you're so bashful, too. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, to get you out of your shell. What also I like about the show is this. It's not a political show. It's not we're talking about facts. We're talking about good things. We're talking about what's happening in Greater Pottsville, and that's what I like about the show. And you've always generated that kind of enthusiasm for not being political and not getting in. Yes, it's politics degrees, but you didn't bring it to the table with this show.
No, I all along, I ran for mayor as a born and raised. This is my hometown, and I'm a local businessman. I've tried to institute that through City Hall here, saying, listen, we're a business, we have customers. I expect the people that come through the front door to be treated that way, no matter male, female, Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever they may be. Yeah. They're all residents of my hometown here in Pottsville. So it's, I have avoided those things, or at least, negotiated them. And I think that's what's made things so positive here lately in the city, that, we've all kind of dropped that. And we're looking at it all from, we're hometown, and we're all neighbors, and we're all in this together. And, getting the chance to have a format like this to share that enthusiasm with the rest of the city is what I enjoy doing. And I think it's important for the city to know that the leaders here in the building are positive and want to get things done in a way that's good for all of us.
The interesting thing is when you looked at what's good for the city, you started the things with the Christmas lights, okay?
Yeah.
And, because, and I can wait for Christmas, believe me. I mean, I want the warm weather coming. But when it does happen, and, and you're going through town and you see the lights and, it's nice atmosphere. It gives you a sense of belonging, etc. So you started this campaign with the goal. We showed it at the last show. And I think at that time, you were at 33,000 or whatever. Okay, so tell us, did you hit your goal?
Oh, Sam, I couldn't be happier. You know, the goal was 35,000. The end of last week, we were a couple hundred away, and came in on Monday. And I can tell you, as of the time we're sitting here at 35,000, we are at $37,090. So we've met the goal, exceeded the goal. We're still accepting donations because, of course, there'll be longer-term maintenance to take care of those lights. And I know there's some other businesses that have some fundraising projects going on. So I'm thrilled. I mean, to see, and I actually just seen the breakdown. It was 47 businesses and 37 citizens.
Isn't that great?
Came together and got us over the goal line.
Well, you're happy. I'm not happy.
Why?
Well, I'll tell you why I'm not happy, friends. Because if it wasn't going to make the goal, we were going to have the cutting of the hair. See? And raise the difference. We were going to cut the hair to make the difference. Now he hit the goal. Now we have to look at something else. But coming up, we're going to be talking about the cruise. Now, there's an opportunity at the cruise to have the cutting of the hair and, getting, taking raffles or whatever. No, I think that's really great. It tells you how things are working. So the road paving has been coming along pretty good.
Yep,
right?
It's that time of the year. The temperatures are up. As I told you last show, since we had a mild winter, we had savings on some salt and cinders, so we were able to extend a little more paving than we initially thought, and that's always a good thing.
Before we bring our guest on, any major thing happening in Pottsville that is a concern to the citizens? Anything that, other than a fire going off right now?
Right. I think our citizens are always concerned. Of course, potholes in streets are always an issue. Blighted properties, and that's a constant battle in all the communities. Within Schuylkill County and beyond. Out-of-town landlords that really don't care because they have no real pride in.
How do you handle those?
Well, it's a process between getting our code enforcement people out. And trying to work with the property owner, and then when we have to take it to the magistrate, it's really frustrating to be a neighbor when you're taking care of your property and the property owner next door isn't. You don't want to have to take 2-3 months to get it cleaned up, but sometimes just the legal process of getting it done. It does take that long, as sad as it is to say, but it's part of the process. Obviously the city can't be going out and using our manpower to clean up somebody's, private property. Although on occasion it gets that bad that we at least try and alleviate it some. But those are probably the biggest complaints I get, or the input I get is usually streets and just a bad neighbor. And I think as this spirit in Pottsville continues, we're going to see some of that change, too.
Dave, isn't there an opportunity to put an ordinance out indicating when you're buying a building that you have to follow the particular ordinances, that, there has to be maintained or whatever? Like when you go to a development and it's a closed community, there's fees every year you have to pay to maintain this, and there's limitations to what you're doing in extensions of your property. Isn't there an ordinance that you...
Well, we have building ordinances and safety code type ordinances to address those things. Unlike in a property owners association I'm familiar with, used to live in one for a while. Where everything is restricted and it has to be approved, and somebody's doing projects like that. That's why we have code enforcement, not only to make sure it's done right, to be able to give somebody who's doing those projects the guidance they need to get it done correctly and safely, and not infringe on neighbors and city property and so on. We have all those sources here. And, anything I can hope is that, my guys in those offices are delivering the message in a a helpful and positive way.
Yeah. So if there's a neighbor, because you don't know what's happening every sector of the town. If there's a neighbor that sees a neglect in a property, they should call City Hall.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I get frustrated when a neighbor calls me and their approach is, you didn't catch this, or you didn't, you're not watching this. And the fact is, I mean, we've got 3 code officers and a whole lot of city to cover. We don't necessarily have the time to go out and look for the problems.
Yeah, you have enough.
Because we have enough reported that they try and address.
And believe me, it's a challenging job.
Oh, absolutely. They're never delivering good news to anybody.
Speaking of a challenging job, every year, we have the Great Pottsville Cruise. I guess it's been changed, the name now. What's the name now? The Dave Clews Show.
No, it's the Great Pottsville Car Show.
The car show.
We don't roll on the streets anymore.
But we have one of the main persons coming on.
Characters?
Well, we don't want to mention character. You say a lot of bad things about it. I'm going to tell them too, They work very hard, my friends. But wait till you see what's planned for this year. And then also, you're benefiting from the car show, and we'll tell you how you're benefiting from it. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. We're here at the Mayor's office in Pottsville. It's the Mayor's Report. But before we get to the Mayor's Report, continue on, I want to thank you once again for making the Sam Lesante Show the #1 talk show in northeastern Pennsylvania, plus all of the other shows we produce. And 24/7, we're on ssptv.com, samsonproductions.com, a new website, giving you a lot of information. Media partners, Standard Speaker, been on for years, and also Republican Herald. When you're talking about local information, my friends, and when you depend on getting the word out, you'll look for a local newspaper. And that's why we're so happy to be media partners with the Republican Herald and also the Standard Speaker, because as we at Samson Productions, SSPTV, we provide local neighborhood programming, and we appreciate your support. Speaking of helping and doing great things, Rob Lynn joined us now. He is involved, the co-chairman of the Great Pottsville Car Show. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you, Sam.
You guys work hard, I'll tell you.
Absolutely.
It's amazing how the work that you guys put in, and I think when I was there and I saw the different things and what you're involved with, it's from the equipment that you need and the whole bit, and then getting volunteers, and you are a volunteer.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's great. Appreciate that. Now it was the cruise at one time, which I really enjoyed. He doesn't remember because he's too old.
Right.
Remember when you were involved with the cruise with Jerry Anders?
Yeah.
You want to talk about, Jerry's been a friend of mine for years. And, I remember going to Jerry's office, stopping in, and this guy was working. And he has, the cars, and he has the museum. And he's giving all this time, to help people out, which I think is, he didn't have to do that. Especially what you guys are doing. Same thing with your business. And I think it takes a special person because they're giving back. And you know what? Even though a lot of times, you're applauded by it, some people would even be critical. Well, why you be critical? Thousands of dollars have been raised at one time going back into the city. I remember being at Jerry had me at a couple of presentations, the library, whatever. And now, with the expense of what humane fire companies has to go, this is a great opportunity. So let's talk about what's happening this year in the for the car show.
We're going to have a ton of food vendors, big food vendor.
No cars, just food.
Nope, no cars. Yeah. No, we're hoping to get a bunch of cars this year for the car show, August 12th.
Now, when you're having these cars, do they have? How do they? Let's say I have a car I want to show off, or I would like to. How do I become involved?
Most of the registrations, Sam, I'll grab that one.
Yeah.
Most of them are done the day of the event.
Okay.
We used to do pre-registration years ago. Which, as it went on, more and more people would just do the day of the event. You know, car guys, they look up in the morning, if it smells like it might rain, they're not coming out. So, you know, the pre-registration, like I said, over the years, numbers dropped, and most did it that day. So they come to Pottsville, some very early in the morning because they have their favorite spaces they want to park now. Stop and meet the volunteers, register their cars, get their goodie bags. You know, every year they've always done a T-shirt. Humane continued that tradition. In fact, they've continued the tradition of where we've put the best of show cars on the front of the shirt every year, which, you know, gets the car guys hungry to bring their car out and, you know, hope to maybe get that honor.
Now, when you're talking about, you have judges, right? They go around, look at the cars and make it, And what do you look for then? I mean, is it uniqueness? How they maintain them, and what do you look for?
All of the above.
Yeah?
Yeah, we didn't, you know, when Humane took it over, you know, when the Lions Club ran it, we had just tons of volunteers, and we actually would do, you know, by classes, for, you know, 55 to, you know, X year Chevys, Mustangs, Camaros, trucks, and, you know, that was a concern when Humane was taking it over, like, you know, will we have the manpower? Can we do that? I said, well, you know, let's simplify that process and make it a top 10 cars, and then a Fireman's Choice Award, and that simplified things that, you know, we didn't need experts, so to speak, on Camaros or Mustangs. We just had to have, you know, some people that had a good eye for cars and appreciation for the work it, you know, took to maintain them, and, you know, so far the car guys are fine with that. You know, it's like any other event, you know, why his Camaro, not my Camaro, and so on. But, you know, they've really done a good job of being able to make the presentations right. They've picked the right cars, and they've kept it simple.
Okay, so you don't have any pre-registrations?
No.
Okay, so just come there that day. Rob, let me change the subject a little bit here. Okay, I mentioned I was at the firehouse, if you remember, did a show. The show was great except when we had him on. And then the ratings went right down to twos. Other than that, you're a volunteer.
Right.
All right. So tell me what a volunteer is involved with in the fact that you always need volunteers.
Right. It starts with training. There's hundreds and hundreds of hours of training you have to do for firefighting.
And why are you doing it?
To help people.
Yeah.
Yep.
How many years you been doing it?
20.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a certain type of person, you know. Now, if you're, I think we addressed this before. If you're not physically capable, okay, what can I still be a volunteer?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You don't have to be a firefighter to, you know, you don't have to go into a burning building to help out.
Yeah.
There's fundraising, which the Cruise is, or car show. We have dinners and everything.
This car show brings revenue to support the Humane Fire Company. Is that correct?
Right.
All right. And so last year you raised over $10,000. You said. So where'd that money go?
Keep the lights on, trucks rolling out the door, equipment.
So you constantly need X amount of dollars.
Absolutely.
Does the city give them any money?
The city does donate to each of the 7 companies that are here in the city of Pottsville. We're very fortunate with the fire protection we have here and the volunteers that we have in the city. So, you know, we give them some. They raise the vast majority of their funds on their own, and you know, gear's expensive. Maintenance, I mean, you know, of a truck is expensive. Humane and a lot of our companies now, you know, because of the popularity of ATVs in the area, you know, have now a trailered ATV for doing rescue work. People probably don't realize that, you know, every year hoses and ladders have to be tested, and you can be looking at a hose where the average individual will go, well, that's a great hose, but you don't want to find out that hose can't take the pressure under a fire, and all of a sudden, we have men and ladies inside a building without water because a hose didn't pass inspection. That's a constant maintenance. Their tires, you know the price of tires for a fire truck, but they don't put a lot of miles on them, so they tend to go a lot longer. And most people probably realize that. But all the other things that are on a truck that are used have to be tested and maintained so that, they can protect the citizens and protect the firefighter. Those are the little unknown costs people don't see day to day.
Yeah.
Even running a simple false alarm is probably $100 fuel cost till you roll one of those big trucks out.
Very, very dangerous false alarms, especially when people are playing games. Rob, tell me what happens. Is this Humane Fire Company all volunteer?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, so is that a good thing? I mean, like, for example, if there's a fire, is there anyone there at the station? I mean, how long does it take for you guys and women to get to the fire department, to get to the fire? I'm always nervous about that.
There's nobody if they could be there if they have free time and they're hanging out there. Usually pager goes off and there's somebody there within 3 minutes.
Is that right?
Right.
So so it's all based on volunteer work.
Right.
So everyone knows, when there's a fire, God forbid it's a major fire, everyone knows what has to be done, who does the truck, who does this,
Absolutely.
My father-in-law was a fireman, and, of course he was a paid fireman at the time, but they had their own areas to do this. So the citizens know that even though it's all volunteer, they're going to get, God forbid, the coverage that they need if there should be a fire.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so how many usually, come at one time?
It kind of varies.
Yeah, it varies.
Time of day.
Time of day.
Yeah.
One of the things that
Even at night, even at nighttime at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, you guys are there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And sometimes you go there too, right? Oh,
I haven't ran a call in a long time,
Is that right?
Sam. That's a younger guy's game
but
now.
But
For years I did.
Yeah.
I ran calls.
Yeah.
One of the things that we're fortunate in the city of Pottsville, any of our city employees who are members of the volunteer firemen, the fire department, especially if they're an active member, they're responding to calls. If he's out there today paving the street and there's a structure fire downtown, they all know you go.
August the 12th, my friends, 12 to 5 p.m. is the Great Pottsville Car Show. Don't you think it would be a great opportunity for a fundraiser?
Here it
Now
comes.
listen to me, Rob, okay? I'm talking to Rob now, okay? Don't you think it'd be a great opportunity if we open up and have the cutting of the mayor's hair, and you make donations, etc. Don't you think
Sounds like a pretty good idea, Sam. We could do it right on the apron,
Well,
right on the front of in the front of the firehouse.
And you could do that,
the guy with no hair.
and we would raise, I'll bet you, thousands of dollars.
Absolutely.
And it would go to a good cause.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to go for it.
Come on.
I mean, do you think the mayor would want to go for that? We should talk about that, Rob. In fact, let's have a committee meeting, all the volunteers, without him, because he'll say, etc. What do you think, Dave? You think how can you get all these people?
Hello? What? I just woke up.
August the 12th. We'll be here 12 to 5 p.m. and bring your car. I hope it's do you have a rain date?
No.
Okay.
No rain date.
So no
Doesn't
rain
rain
that
on
day.
our parade.
It doesn't rain on our parade. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Remember, support our sponsors. We appreciate it. Well, we're going to wrap the show up today. We're doing the Mayor's Report. We're here with Rob Lynn, who is the co-chairman of the Great Pottsville Car Show. We want to thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Sam.
Rob, and continue to keep up the good work. So we're
Will do.
looking forward to August the 12th, 12 to 5. And Dave, it's always nice talking with the mayor. We have a lot more to talk about.
Always a pleasure.
We have the pool. We have a lot of things happening in springtime.
Pool, we have trains coming to town. We have
Speaking of trains, April the 28th, Jerry's Museum will be opened. The train's coming in, so if you get a chance, first of all, if you haven't been to the museum, it's fantastic. It really is a treat to be there. Okay, we'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us, folks.